The laughter started before she even reached the serving line. It rolled through the mess hall like static, sharp, careless, cruel. Trays clattered, boots scraped against the floor, and a dozen heads turned as the woman in the faded uniform stepped inside. Her jacket was old, the fabric softened by years of washing. The rank on her shoulder looked almost out of place, as if it belonged to another time. She walked with a slight limp, not enough to slow her down, just enough for others to notice. And they did. "Lost, ma'am," someone muttered loudly. Another voice followed, amused. "Did they start letting civilians eat with us now?" The woman paused for half a second, not in fear, not in confusion, just long enough to take a breath. Then she continued forward, eyes steady, posture straight. Her name was Colonel Mara Vance, though no one there knew it yet. To them, she was just another officer past her prime, another reminder that the military didn't always look like the posters on the walls. She had learned long ago how to walk through rooms like this. Mara took a tray and moved down the line. The cook glanced at her rank and hesitated, then served her without comment. The murmurs grew louder as she passed tables filled with young soldiers, fresh uniforms, sharp haircuts, confidence still unscarred by loss. A few of them laughed openly now, nudging each other, whispering guesses about how she'd earned her rank. Favoritism, paperwork, politics. None of them noticed the scars on her hands. Mara sat alone at a corner table. She set her tray down carefully, as if every movement mattered. Around her, the noise swelled back into normal conversation, but the glances didn't stop. She felt them like pressure against her skin. She had felt it in training yards, in briefing rooms, in war zones where doubt could kill faster than bullets. She had survived all of it. A group of lieutenants nearby grew bolder as the minutes passed. "Hey, Colonel," one of them called out, the title dripping with sarcasm. "You here to inspect the potatoes too?" Laughter erupted at the table. A few soldiers looked uncomfortable, but no one spoke up. The rules of the mess hall were simple. Eat, joke, don't get involved. Mara lifted her eyes and met the lieutenant's gaze. Her look wasn't angry. It wasn't wounded. It was calm, so calm it unsettled him for just a moment. "Enjoy your meal," she said quietly, then returned to eating. That should have been the end of it. But mockery, once fed, always wants more. The lieutenant scoffed. "Guess they really will pin rank on anyone these days." Something shifted in the room then. Not silence, not yet, but a subtle tightening, like the air before a storm. The doors at the far end of the mess hall opened. A voice rang out, sharp and unmistakable. "Attention." Chairs scraped back violently. Trays were abandoned mid-bite. Every soldier in the room snapped to their feet, back straight, eyes forward. The general had entered. General Thomas Hale was not a man who needed to raise his voice. His presence alone carried weight. Decades of command, battles fought and buried, decisions that had sent men home or not at all. He walked slowly, deliberately, eyes scanning the room as he moved forward. Mara stood with everyone else, her tray untouched now. The general stopped, right in front of her. For a heartbeat, no one breathed. Then, in a movement so precise it felt unreal, General Hale brought his hand up in a crisp, formal salute. Every soldier froze. Mara returned the salute instantly, muscle memory flawless. "Welcome back, Colonel Vance," the general said, his voice steady but thick with something deeper. "It's an honor to have you here." The mess hall was utterly silent. The lieutenants who had laughed just moments earlier stared in disbelief. One of them swallowed hard, eyes flicking between the general and the woman they had mocked. General Hale turned slowly to face the room. "This," he said, gesturing toward Mara, "is the officer who held the Eastern Pass when air support never came. The one who coordinated an evacuation under fire and brought every wounded soldier home. The one who stayed behind so others could live." He paused, letting the words sink in. "You're standing in the presence of someone who embodies what this uniform means." Mara felt the familiar tightening in her chest, not pride, not exactly. Something heavier. Memory. The pass. The smoke. The radio going dead in her ear. The faces of soldiers who trusted her when fear screamed louder than orders. She had done what needed to be done because there was no one else left to do it. She had never done it for recognition. General Hale lowered his hand. At ease. The room obeyed, but nothing returned to normal. No one sat down right away. No one laughed. Mara shifted uncomfortably. She had never liked moments like this. Heroes were supposed to be distant, untouchable. She was just tired. She wanted to eat her meal and leave. The lieutenant who had spoken earlier stepped forward, face flushed. His voice shook despite his effort to control it. Colonel. Sir, I apologize. Mara looked at him for a long moment. She saw fear, yes, but also something else. Embarrassment. Reflection. Sit down, she said gently. Finish your meal. He hesitated, then obeyed. General Hale leaned closer to her, lowering his voice. They don't know what it costs, he said. No, Mara replied softly. But they will. She gathered her tray and moved to leave. As she walked toward the door, something remarkable happened. One by one, soldiers began to salute. Not because they were ordered to. Not because a general was watching. But because they finally understood. Mara returned each salute, her limp more noticeable now, her steps slower. When she reached the door, she paused and looked back at the room, the young faces, the uniforms still untested, the future still wide open. She hoped they would learn sooner than she had that strength doesn't always shout, that courage doesn't always look the way you expect, and that respect should never have to be earned through suffering. The door closed behind her. And in the mess hall she left behind, the laughter never sounded the same again.